There is a major reason why Mamdani was able to pull off the win that he did that none of us have really talked about. I would even argue that this is the primary reason he was able to win, even beyond his skill as a candidate, even beyond all of the volunteer hours. This is the reason why he was able to do what he did. The reason why Mamdani was able to win New York was because people were demanding socialism first. A lot of people are saying that the reason he won is because he talked about affordability, that he tapped on things that were unique to this election, but that's not true. We're talking about New York. Affordability has always been a concern of New Yorkers. We are talking about one of the most expensive places to live on earth. Of course, that has been something that other candidates have touched on in the past. However, what makes Mamdani talking about affordability different from anyone else talking about affordability is that Mamdani is a socialist, which means that he's actually serious when he talks about affordability. He was actually able to say, yeah, affordability is important to me, and also it's not just important to me, it's the entire basis of my political ideology, which means he was able to put together a platform that honestly addresses affordability, and people actually believed that he was going to get that done because he was already going out on a limb by just being a socialist running in the first place. You could tell he wasn't showing up to the race to take the easy way through politics because there are way easier ways to have a career in politics than running as a socialist. But why then do we not just chalk up his entire win to the fact that he was able to effectively articulate a platform and then run on it? Well, that platform and his socialist identity would not have won in any other previous mayoral race. You see, the political ideology of New York itself had to change in order to make him electable. And the way that that changed was that New Yorkers themselves were loudly and proudly describing their socialist or communist or anarchist platforms and making it apparent that in New York, a new kind of politics was not just electable, but it was desired. Now, that doesn't mean that Mamdani wasn't a skilled candidate, and that doesn't mean that people going around door knocking wasn't incredibly important to his actual success. I am not saying that at all. We need to maintain doing those things whenever and wherever we can. However, there is an even simpler and easier bedrock to that success that we can all be participating in all the fucking time, even if you don't have time to get out and volunteer and door knock or phone bank. You can be speaking to your commitment and your desire for a new way of political thinking. And it's not just posting on the internet, it's making sure that you are loudly in your community voicing what you want. Because the interesting thing is, by doing this, you may not actually be convincing anyone to think the same way as you or to have the same political ideology as you. But the impact you will start to have is to change their own impression of the political makeup of the place that they live. Sure, they might not be a socialist themselves, but they slowly start to think of their community as a place with socialists who are actively engaged in their communities. Which means they won't find it weird or confusing or concerning when a socialist candidate or someone volunteering for them shows up at their door saying, "Hey, can I talk to you about my platform?" They may go, "Hey, I'm not a socialist. I am a liberal through and through. However, I know that there are tons of socialists in my community and I'm not dead yet, so maybe I can at least hear what they have to say." It's this underlying groundwork that actually most of our communities need to take the first step towards. A lot of people think we need to just run the candidates and we need to just go into campaigns. And while I think the infrastructure of campaigns are effective, and I also think that that step and the campaigns themselves can happen simultaneously, I think that prioritizing that first step of getting the identity of your community to change more towards the left is ultimately going to be more fruitful in the long run. It's going to generate more of those candidates that you want to vote for in the first place. Not only that, the current candidates that are already running are going to have to consider that when they are campaigning in your districts. If they know your town and your community has a very large socialist or leftist contingent, are they going to think twice about the types of platforms that they try and pitch to you? Or maybe they think your community is a lost cause and they write it off completely, which might sound bad because that is dumb and bad of them. Because what it allows for is another candidate to swoop in and take those votes. You are creating a base of support for outsiders, which is what we need to do when we want to change the political makeup of our country. And all of this is incredibly cheap and incredibly easy to do. If you have access to a printer and Microsoft Word, you can be creating simple and effective flyers that can go out into your community this week. You can make pamphlets and infographics and all sorts of different materials that can be handed out to businesses that people can pick up at the cash register. These simple, cheap, and visible tactics are some of the easiest ways that we can start changing our entire country's mindset towards change. So let's get the fuck out there and let's get it going.